Hi guy, welcome back TV Spoilers. Today, I will intro about Could Mariah's rivalry be a repeat of Tessa's love story? Mariah was used to being hunted by stares and seemingly harmless questions that carried the scent of handcuffs. In Genoa City right now, she was not just a woman panicking about her future, but also a name inextricably linked to legal risks, to rumors that could kill her normal life with a mere frown from the public. Frozen accounts rendered all escape routes meaningless, as if someone had carefully drained the air from the room she lived in. Mariah understood that she no longer had control over her time, no longer had the right to wait for a miracle. If she stood still, the footsteps of the law would close behind her, and this time she wouldn't be able to say it was all a misunderstanding. She didn't need people to believe she was innocent. She just needed more distance, a few more hours of advantage, a chance to disappear from the map of those seeking to imprison her. It was this deadlock that drove her to the cruelest decision, contacting Tessa. Not because Mariah didn't know it was cruel, but because she knew all too well that Tessa was the last thread between her and freedom, and also the knife that could sever Tessa's current life with a single misplaced nod. Mariah chose to contact her secretly, like a true criminal, because she understood that if she were discovered meeting Tessa, if a single message were leaked, everything would instantly become evidence. She didn't go directly, didn't make a fuss, didn't ask for a noisy meeting. She quietly touched the edge of Tessa's life, like a dying person touching the side of a glass of water they weren't allowed to drink. Mariah's plea was no longer adorned with pride or self-respect. It was the naked truth of despair. The face of someone seeing the prison doors in their imagination and so terrified that they could no longer pretend to be strong. She stated bluntly that she had no money, her account was frozen, all communication lines were cut, and she urgently needed funds to leave the country before being caught. She wasn't asking for love nor forgiveness, she was asking for a means to do so. In return, Mariah offered a promise that sounded both sincere and terrifying. She would repay the debt, and she would never contact her again. Within that promise, there was a chilling undertone. Mariah was admitting that if Tessa helped, Tessa would be the last person to ever touch her before she disappeared. The only one left to live with that secret. To force Tessa to confront emotions she didn't want to confront, Mariah mentioned Arya not as a brutal weapon, but as a painful alarm bell. Tessa's heart constricted at the mention of that name because Arya wasn't just a child. She was proof of a family Tessa had tried to rebuild from the shattered pieces of the past. Mariah knew that. And Mariah knew that mentioning Arya could be both hope and a crime, because it made it impossible for Tessa to simply respond like a stranger. But it was here that the tragedy began to unfold. If Tessa helped Mariah, she might be putting Arya in legal danger, in a chaotic future, at risk of being drawn into a vortex of fleeing. If Tessa refused, she might be pushing Mariah to the brink, where an impulsive decision or another desperate act would destroy everything and become a wound that would never heal in their memories. Tessa was shocked not only by the request for money, but because Mariah appeared in her life at the very moment she was trying to maintain peace. That peace was named Daniel. Daniel wasn't simply someone who stepped in to replace Mariah, but someone standing beside Tessa as a vital choice, a stable choice, a present choice. A choice to prevent Tessa from being overwhelmed by the storm of old emotions. But when Mariah returned with a plea for help, Tessa was instantly pulled back into her old self, the one who had loved Mariah, understood Mariah. and knew that beneath that stubborn exterior lay a fear so deep it could drive Mariah to do something reckless. Tessa saw the fine line between helping and complicity. She also saw something even more terrifying. If she betrayed the law to save Mariah, she would have to live with the betrayal of the very life she was building with Daniel. Whatever the choice, it would change Mariah's fate and change Tessa in an irreversible way. And just as Tessa was about to make that decision, just as her hand was about to offer salvation or rejection, a small, unexpected detail appeared like a chilling blow, making her realize it might be too late. There were signs that the secret of this contact was no longer hidden in the shadows, as if someone had been close enough to hear, alert enough to follow the trail. Whatever the choice, it would change Mariah's fate and change Tessa's in an irreversible way. And just as Tessa was about to make that decision, just as her hand was about to offer salvation or rejection, a small, unexpected detail appeared like a chilling blow, making her realize it might be too late. There were signs that the secret of this contact was no longer hidden in the shadows. On our TV Spoilers channel, I always seek content inspiration for each video by compiling short video clips to analyze and offer my personal opinions. This channel specializes in analyzing, theorizing, and discussing plot points in the Young and the Restless series from the perspective of a longtime fan. Through this, viewers can gain deeper, more objective, and more interesting perspectives. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest news about the Young and the Restless series.